Welcome today. Hopefully we had a good start to our day, and we will continue and see if we can build on that. All right, so today we do have a little wellness activity, and that's where that wolf is going to come into play here on your desk, and at home you'll just put your thoughts in the chat. Would be great to do that. All right, so we'll take some time, so a little wellness activity, and then from there we'll jump back into what we have been starting, or what we have started in regards to Mao and People's Republic of China. All right, before we start, anything good for the cause here? No? All right. All right, so we've got our little announcement from Ms. Romaine. All right, and so be strong enough to stand alone. So if we're talking about commitment and all that, and being part of the pack, because yesterday we talked a little bit about the pack, be strong enough to stand alone, be yourself enough to stand apart, but be wise enough to stand together when the time comes. All right, so individuality is definitely respected, but sometimes we have to act collectively as well. All right, so about commitment. And that's what we're going to focus on here today in our little wellness activity, is this idea of commitment. And Mr. Romaine had talked about the various elements of it, the follow through and the perseverance through adversity and being involved. And we'll expand on those pieces there as well. So just if we think together, just collectively, and we can just do a little shout out here and there, just what are ways that we can show commitment to either the CG, this immediate community here, or our school? What are ways that we can show commitment? What do we think? And at home, put it in the chat, your thoughts. What can we say here? Ways to show commitment. Just showing up. All right, just showing up. Absolutely, that can be hard. Showing up. All right, and especially here, we're looking at trimesters 3.1 and 3.2. It's the end of your senior year, and we might be focusing on other things. All right, so showing up can be hard. Absolutely. Okay, good point. How about another one? Give me one more. One more way that we can show that we're committed to either the community, and I said, but it could be also another community as well. Could be a community that you identify with that's outside of the CG and outside of Park. All right, showing respect, absolutely. Committed by showing respect. Someone on the chat said. All right. So here we got a little video here. We're going to watch perseverance. All right, but I look at that squirrel there. That is definitely perseverance as well. Reaching for your goal. I also want to know how it probably worked out. Did the squirrel get the acorn or not? You know, that would be a nice follow-up with it. Got the acorn and ran away, or just simply attacked the person given the acorn, or the person given the acorn just psych, took it away. All right, so here we go. We got a little video. Let's kick that in. Hopefully we got some sound. That's tall. Stop this for a moment. Forgot. I gotta mute myself. All right. So I guess what was the point of that little video clip or that little story about the bamboo? Was there any point to it? Any point? What's that? Patience. Yes, patience. Patience. That probably goes along with perseverance. Be patient. Okay. Grow 75 feet tall. That's beastly. But most of the development is early on, and then eventually, boom, it takes off. Patience. All right. So, and feel like, you know, if you want to give an example of a time you had to persevere, difficult time, and at home you can put it in the chat as well. I think, you know, for me, a difficult time, usually for me, and Miss Iden will also, and my family would say, you know, you just your way of persevering is just power through it. That's what you do. You just power through it. That's your mode of operation. You create little compartments, and you put it in a compartment, and you just power it through and all that. And I suppose they're all waiting for the moment that the compartment doors all opened up, and let's see what happens to me in that process. But I think, you know, for me, difficult time, and it's not always the easy one. It's when it's those people that are close to you, and something happens to them, and then you got to persevere. You want to focus a lot on them, and you have to find a way to persevere. You know, my parents both have passed away, but, you know, their passing have been at not the most, you know, it may come across as selfish, not at the most easiest times or in which they did it. Like my mom passed away literally the day before school was going to start in 2000. So now, you know, I got to try to find a way to persevere through that. Or my father passing away around Memorial Day a few years ago, and trying to find a way to finish out a school year, try to celebrate my son is graduating from high school, and also remembering Pops and all that stuff to go with it. Finding ways to persevere. And how do I did that? You know, I'm not one that always reaches out and asks for help or share my views and stuff. Had to rely on you know, my immediate family, but also my students were also very helpful too. And in the fall, it's also coaching, and so my soccer players also in the soccer community helping me as well. So that would be an example for me, dealing with a difficult time and trying to find a way to persevere through it. That's a tragic moment. I could find moments where things are going to be more successful or more positive, like graduating from the University of Minnesota, being the first in my family to actually make it through college. And that was not an easy task, knowing that not too many people in my immediate house had a college experience. So I couldn't go and ask them, hey, you know, I'm struggling with this, you know, finding ways to persevere. And going to the University of Minnesota back then, as well as today, a large institution, you got to find ways to reach out and also get help. So there's my difficult moment of persevering and more positive moment of persevering. Does anyone have want to share? And I respect if you don't. Okay. All right. So with it's not a law, you've got a wolf. I personally picked wolves. You got a wolf on your desk, and so hopefully you brought a pencil. Those at home, put down on your in the chat, what can you do to strengthen the wolf pack? All right, so maybe put an idea down, maybe put a phrase down, just something that you think you can do or what others can do, ideally to help strengthen the wolf pack. You don't have to put your name on it. All right, just put down what you think. and I will be collecting these wolf packs. So again, at home, it would be nice. Please put into the chat. And what I'll do is I'll just put together, I'll collect these, I'll turn them in, but I'll jot down what we thought, and then I can share that with the class. And again, so you don't necessarily, don't put your name, just keep it anonymous. And again, at those at home as well, even though I will see your name in the chat, just put down what you think. So I can add that to our class list. Feel free to share with an elbow partner. But properly socially distancing, I guess. All right, so while you finish putting your thought down, and when we do our classroom activity, I'll walk around and I'll pick them up, and then I'll look at them. So some things to think about here is, spring sports will be happening here, and we also have school activities too that will be happening as well. But spring sports, so it tells us that we are getting back to a sense of normalcy, and that could be a phrase or word being overused here at this time, but for those who are engaged in spring sports, you'll have close to a normal season, it looks like. And then we also have some groups and clubs that are going on, and so most of them are going to meet virtually, but meeting in person, all that stuff is still to be determined. You just want to make sure if you are part of a club or a group that you're checking in with the advisor, and so they will tell you otherwise. And will we have a spring play?
Yeah.
Yep, and we will have a spring play. So I did not see that on this group or on this.
Did the warrant, but it's going to come out at the end of this month, and then they're also doing music.
Okay.
And that's going to be like
all right. So see one act and spring musical. Outstanding. Do we know the title?
The one is Dog Sees God. It as a film.
Okay.
And then the musical is called Relativity, and they're doing it like live in the gym. I think is the plan that they have right now.
Okay.
I'm not in it, so.
Okay. Theory of relativity.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds very science-based. Interesting. All right. Turned into a musical. All right. I suppose, with Hamilton, we can turn, something like Hamilton into a musical. There's even a musical on the U.S. Civil War. All right. So, yeah, there is. There is. I have the soundtrack to it. Civil War nerd. It is interesting that you could do that, but hey, there also was a musical on 1776 as well. revolution. So there you go. You can make a musical about that. You can make a musical about high school. There we go. Bad joke. All right. All right. So with that, thank you for participating. And again, I'll come around and I'll collect the wolf pack from you. All right. What we put on the wolf pack was a way that you can show here, if we go back here, what you can do to strengthen the wolf pack. All right. You don't have to put your name on it. You just put down what you think you can do. All right. So we are looking at Mao and the People's Republic of China here. And one thing, think about, they call it the People's Republic of China. Many single party leaders of 20th centuries claim to be democratic. All right. And so I guess you look at the title, it kind of is claiming in some ways that it's democratic or it's representing people. And the name of the communist states, and those on that list, as you can see there, many of them are, they all are left-leaning or they are outright communist countries. Although during elections, the voters could only choose from a list of candidates published by the ruling Communist Party. So you have elections, however, here's what you got. All right. And it's not like you have multiple parties, because again, if it's a single party state, there's only one main party. So would you, we could probably agree those on that list right there are not democratic countries. We have Democratic Republic of Congo, Laos, or Lao People's Democratic Republic, and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. We could probably agree that they are not democratic, that they are authoritarian base. So why do you think it's important that they do put those words in the title of their country? That those at home, feel free to either unmute, say it, or put it in the chat here. What do we think? What do we got?
Probably makes them look a lot
better. Okay, looks better. Okay. Just like, I think when look at Nazi Germany, they were the National Socialist German Workers' Party. The idea of socialists and German Workers' Party, make them look nicer.
I think part of the name is also that they can still vote for a select amount of people to try to manipulate, not the right word, but show the citizens that they do have some say.
Okay.
But they really don't have as much of a say as they think they do.
Okay. All right. I know, I understand what you're saying here in that the idea, it gives the impression that you do have an opportunity to have a voice. All right. Valid point. Anyone else? Okay. We know when we look at those, kind of like the profile of these countries, one main party, candidates are coming from that one main party. In order to be a candidate to even be in government office, in some ways you gotta follow the party line. You gotta have the right frame of thinking. And so this idea of it being a people's republic, it's only in name itself, it seems like. All right. What we want to do, though, is look at really how is Mao, and more specifically, how is Mao going to go about creating this People's Republic of China to really reflect his base, and his base. Who is Mao's base? If we want to use that word, base. Who's his base? The peasants. All right, and everything that he does is going to be for the peasants, right? What we know of the People's Republic of China, how have the peasants fared? What you know, and what you may know, or you can speculate. How have the peasants fared? Belly, shaking your head. You don't think they're fared well? No? I think if we look at some of the policies, some of the big changing policies, the president's in some cases the brunt of them. Great Leap Forward was a great disaster. There's a huge famine. China experienced a lot of famine. The policies at the hands of Mao, and his base died by the thousands as a result of these policies. But we can also look at the base maybe early on benefits. But as he is consolidating, maintaining his power, his base gets manipulated and get hurt by some of his policies as well. So today, what I want us to do is we're going to look at seeing the creation of the People's Republic of China. So if you look in Schoology, and we should probably do that, I had opened up an assignment today, a couple of them, and one of them is called the People's Republic of China. And what we are looking at is we're going to look at 7 different topics. And it can be done either by looking at the placards. So those at home, you're going to use the placards that have been photocopied and turned into a PDF. Those here, we have a choice of you can get up and stretch those legs and walk around and look at the placards, or you also have the PDF that you can have access to. And what we're trying to do here in this is at each of these stations, there's a general topic. Here, we're looking at consolidation and recovery. So Mao is working on, again, consolidating the People's Republic of China. It may not necessarily be directly about power, but there are regions that China feels it's part of them. Like Tibet would be an example, or Taiwan would be another example. So that's part of that consolidation and recovery. So, and then you have the creation of a highly centralized system of party control. Then you're looking at the campaign against counter-revolutionaries, reform movement, mass movement, the 3 and 5 Antis campaign. You're looking at the 100 Flowers campaign and anti-rightist campaign. If anything you learn from this activity, People's Republic of China, they like movements and they like campaigns. And when in doubt, when you're trying to think of what was the name of it, it's probably going to involve something movement, something campaign. It is trying to get the people involved in this process. So that could also play a role here in the People's Republic of China as well. Part of this consolidation is making sure people are part of the transformation of China, because that's what civil wars do, and that's what's happening here as well. But also making sure they have the right political thinking. Yeah. In the Communist Party in China there's 2 factions, it seems like. You either considered a leftist communist or as I'm pointing with, it would be your, that's your left as I'm holding my right hand up. Or you're part of the rightist communist movement. Rightists tend to be a little more pragmatic, understanding the situation. Leftists are the radicals, and they just really want to reshape. Mao is in that category. A guy by the name of Zhou Enlai or Deng Xiaoping, it will be on the rightist campaign. These individuals tend to, at times, be purged or marginalized. All right, and that's going to happen in these. You have one question that's going to guide you through this whole process. For each of these stations, as you read it, and some of the stations are short, some of them are a little bit longer. What did you learn about how Mao and the Communist Party consolidate and maintain their power? All right, so that's you're doing a little research and you're analyzing and coming up with this is how they did it for each of these. And it shouldn't take that long actually to do it, and we have plenty of time here, so we're just going to have some success here with this. And then finally, always we are looking at the big historical question. Of course, it's what we've been doing from day one in year one, it seems like, as well, is by what means did Mao consolidate and maintain his hold on China? You got to go beyond just killing a lot of people, purging a lot of people, because that's part of it. But then there's other methods to it as well. Okay? All right. So that is our task. That will be our task here for today, is to work on this. Should be able to get it done. You can work with a historical buddy as well, just maintaining our distance as you are working with it. And if you feel like you got to stretch your legs up, those that are here, just walk around, look at the different stations. Would be fine as well. I will check back. I mean, those at home, you can work on this. You can exit and you can work on this. Just submit it. Those here in the classroom, I'll check back with about 5 minutes left of the class period to see where we're at. Okay? Question on our task? All right, we want to see how they're going to start creating the foundations. All right, I'll cut loose. Those at home, you can exit.